Neptune and its importance. Why is Neptune so important? This is the planet that will let you know how spiritual you really is. So if you got Neptune dominant in your chart, and me myself, Neptune is one of my dominant planets. This means that what you're going to see is something that's bigger than you, me, him, her, and everyone, which is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. The way you look at life will be spiritual. When you eat, you drink, no matter if you're cutting grass, no matter if you building something with your hands, no matter what you do, you're going to always seek that divine presence. You're all going to see everything is spiritual. And so, when you got Neptune, a part of your life, on the upside, it's so great. But also on the downside, it can be very destructive. Because this is spiritual. So just imagine a person has no spirituality, no divinity within themselves, how they move. They're so practical. They're so earthly until only thing they understand is being so serious and not even about life because they work so hard. They overwork and they become ill and sick because they just so serious that they don't have no cheerfulness in their bones or spirits. You see? This is why Neptune is important. Because Neptune is in both worlds. Neptune is in the physical world and the spiritual world. So it's the doorway in both worlds. So he got his foot in both worlds. So you say Neptunian people need balance. So we're talking about Neptunian people. If this is in your first house, this is part of who you are. If you're a Pisces sun, if you're a Pisces moon or Pisces rising, this is who you are. This is who you are, full of emotion, so sensitive. One little touch, you will snap. So if you got a lot of Pisces in your chart, or Pisces dominate your chart, or if Neptune dominates your chart, because Neptune is the planet of Pisces. We're talking about spiritual, divine, super emotional. And so this is how you will be. Some of the Pisces trait that come from Neptune, you will possess that. Just that water quality. That divine essence. Just give you the spiritual mind. So you got Neptune there. This makes you tap into the unknown world. Love to fantasize and stay in a world that's better than the material world to you. That's better than the physical world to you. So you stay in your mind. You stay using your imagination, your fantasy, because it's so good. And so if you got this in your first house, this is part of who you are, part of yourself. This is the beauty of you, because Neptune is a beautiful watery planet. So you beautiful. So blue, devil is your color. Blue, purple. This is like higher self, the third eye. And so when we talk about people who got Neptune spirit, just like Jupiter spirit, they definitely will be spiritual. If they're not spiritual, in some sense, they will be spiritual. But if they're not, they can crash. They can become mentally ill. Their mental health will go down. Their whole health will go down. They can live like savages, eat out the trash can, and all type of ill stuff. They can be very ill and become drunks and alcoholics and on heroin and on cocaine, and also be a sex maniac. Because this is their addiction to escape the real world. Because they feel so many people emotions, so much pain all around them. So many people emotion. Even the environment, they can feel the environment. When I walk out, I know I'm clairsentient, where I can feel the environment. Because I got a lot of water in my chart, including the moon. Well, water dominate my chart. And Neptune is like my second dominant planet. But anyway, when I walk out into the environment, I can feel people's pain. I can feel the emotions of the environment. And then I can feel it through my earthly body. Because I got a Virgo moon. Not only is Neptune the water dominate, but I'm a Virgo moon. Which means I can feel it in my body. I can feel what somebody doing. I can feel the atmosphere on my sensitive skin, you see? So I can feel it. So this the Neptunian people, they can feel your emotions, they can feel your pain, they can read you. They have psychic dreams. They see Neptune is over psychic ability. It's over it. It's over it. All water signs are psychic. But when we're talking about spiritual, divine, divination, this is the highest level of what psychic ability is. So they get their psychic ability from the source. It's come from the source, the higher self. So the Neptunian people, how do they move around? They're very creative. So they're very creative, very skillful when it comes to arts, when it comes to, also they can manipulate. You got a smooth talk game. They talk smoothly. So that's when they're on their earthly waves. They can be very smooth. They can be very cool. But at the same time, they don't like violence, but they still can rock with the crowd too because they're adaptable. So they can adapt to any environment. They can adapt to violent environments, any environment, but they don't do good in toxic environment because this is spiritual. And they wonder why they go through it, because Neptunian people don't do good drinking. They don't do good in a toxic environment. They don't do good on drugs. They don't do good with negativity, period. And so when you got a Neptunian person on a lower frequency, you got a bad individual who can lie, who can manipulate, who can even cheat, who can even deceive, you see? But on the upside, this is a very positive placement on the spiritual realm that when they so divine that some people could treat them as angels. Some people could treat them as angels, and some people could treat them as this is too spiritual for me. You see what I'm saying? Because everything we're dealing with this Neptune placement is spiritual. Everything they see is spirit. They see soul. So it's like they came into this world knowing what spirituality was or seeking it. So your Neptunian spirit just like the number 7. I'm a life path 7. So this lets you know that you wonder why Neptune is one of the dominant planets in my chart. Now you know. And why water dominate my chart. Now you know. I'm a life path 7. So Neptunian souls, they seek spirituality. Like when I was young, I just knew religion wasn't for me. So Neptunian souls can't be religion. They got to be spiritual. If they're religion, they probably trapped in the box and they wonder why they suffer and they go through it. You see? So they have to be spiritual. So they on their own journey. They're here to take over the spiritual realm. Neptunian people also is here to bring out the truth to the world, share the truth, and also teach what spirituality is and teach people how to reach their higher self, just like the life path 7. So with the Neptune energy, they're here to do that, to share this information, to help you reach your higher self. The whole thing is to get themselves right, to develop love within themselves, to have self-love so they can share love with you, with everyone. And so they could be so out there, gone in their mind, in their head, and thinking nobody is good and nobody is this. And so they want to escape the world of negativity or destructive, that they can isolate themselves from everyone and everything because they feel like nobody can feel them, that nobody's on their frequency, that they got advanced soul. They got advanced soul, advanced mind. So Pisces on a whole nother frequency. Basically, Neptune is what I'm speaking of. It's on a whole nother frequency. They are old souls. They ain't the 12th house for nothing. Anybody got planets in the 12th house like a stellium, a whole bunch of planets? This is the area like they will operate in, the spiritual realm. They will go through things that deal with the spiritual realm. And so when we speak of the Neptunian people, they will go through things that deal with spirit. I mean, even want to commit suicide can get that bad where they can feel that the spirit's attacking them because they can't control themselves. So everything, the spirit they always end up seeing ghosts or spirit or something, or be spooky about spirits. It always be something that deals with the spiritual realm, something that they hate or that they love. So it could be either or. It depends on if they got squares against Neptune and oppositions against Neptune, they can have a hard time with the spiritual world. So that's what I want y'all to understand. Because my Lilith, the black moon, is in the 12th house. So you see why I was mentally ill or mentally going through it. That's it. My Lilith in the 12th house. This is in the house of Neptune, where I deal with the spiritual realm, where I heard voices and all type of stuff. So why I always was into spirituality. Always, ever since a baby, I was curious about it. I was curious about it. I just wasn't religion type. I'm not your religion type. I always knew that was a fraud. That it wasn't the real deal. See, I felt that. See, those who got life path sevens or Neptunian babies, they understand. They're gonna be your sages walk around with your crystals vibrating high, and they understand how the energy work off the crystals. Not only crystals, some of them herbal teas. Depends on if they got some Virgo in them. So Virgo is the opposite, where Virgos they got to have like physical things like herbal, like gemstone, like tea, herbal teas and herbal teas and plants. But Pisces don't have to have nothing. They just know they spiritual without things. You see, without anything. See, Virgo trying to become just like Pisces, and Pisces trying to become more practical on the earthly plane like Virgo to analyze things. So instead of always using their intuition, you see, to become that thinker. So this is how it operates. The opposite forces. They do some of the same things. They heal it, but they heal it on a different wavelength. So with this being said, Pisces or Neptune energy is very strong. When you talk about the Neptune itself, Neptune, without talking about the Pisces trait, Neptune itself is the spiritual. It's what it is. It's the divine presence. It's deal with who you are. And so everything, like every literature, everything that's written, everything that's spoken from people who are spiritual, you'll be in tune to, you'll be fascinated about. And you'll be fascinated about breaking down the truth. Like if somebody lying about spirituality, or if you see something wrong about spirituality, if it's not true. Because you're here to bring that truth, the spiritual truth here. Teach people how to work the energy center, the chakras. Teach people how to heal with energy through the hands, with energy. You teach people how to tap into their psyche. And also, you're here to be an example of that. So people can see what spirituality truly is. So you can be the model of what a divine person is, a God-like person is. So when we talk spirituality here, you the type, when we talk on the earthly plane with the Neptune energy, you the type roaming all over the place like a free spirit. I mean, like, you got to have some type of excitement all into this environment, that environment. Everything interests you because this the Neptune energy. They got love for people, for humanity itself, because their love deal with the soul. It don't deal with the physical flesh. So that's why, like, a lot of Neptune people don't succeed. A lot of them don't move up in rank. A lot of them don't succeed. They stay spiritual all their life. They might live somewhere like by some mountains or by the ocean. They might live somewhere where they got a house where it ain't got to be no big house. It's a regular house. Own a house where they can be spiritual in it forever, where they can meditate forever, where they can have them a shrine forever. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, they don't care for money. They spend money like ice, when we talk the Neptune spirit. Also, they know how to make money. It's coming to them because they understand that money is energy also. So they understand that to live a life that's productive, you need some type of income. Even though they understand that, they spend it because they attract good people. They attract people who will help them. They attract people in their life who love their soul, who love their spirit because they're so nice and so kind. You see? And they're very giving. If it's so giving, they will give you their last dollar. They will give you this, give you that, give you that. Also give you knowledge, give you information. So when we talk about the Neptune energy, it's very sacred. Because when you think of the number 7, you're thinking of a mind that holds the light bulb to life. It's the light bulb. How the 7 shape, it's the light bulb pointing down. So Neptunian people shedding their light on the world. You know what I'm saying? And this light will help you heal and advance so you can become powerful. It's like a Neptunian will spark you and inspire you and give you the motivation to reach your divine essence. So when you see a Neptune person, you feel good in their presence. You feel divine. You feel very safe. And you feel very sacred. And so we got Neptune in the first house. This part of the person's body, how they look, and the personality, part of who they are. So this will create the rest of their house. This is their chart ruler. So if Neptune is in the second house right here, how they will manifest, it would be through beauty and through art. You know what I'm saying? Because Neptune is already creative, already got the creative spirit. So it manifests itself through you getting a job that deals with the spiritual realm, the spiritual work. But since it's earthly and it's plain, you have like items that's spiritual items like clothing, jewelry, or jewelry like gold, like silver, but you know that it's spiritual with the gemstones, with the onyx, you know, stuff like that. So spiritual stuff, you would sell stuff like that because this is in the house of Taurus, the house of achieving and getting money, but also relaxation. And so we got Taurus here to make these people very good empaths. They be in their heart a lot, in their heart chakra of manifestation. So they manifest whatever they put to the test. But if it's in the third house, if you got Neptune in the third house, this make these people very psychic. Cause Mercury get them understanding. Mercury already psychic on the mental level. So they just give you understanding. You can walk around, communicate your gifts, and probably the dead will talk to you. Those who in the underworld will talk to you. The spirits where you can understand it quick and really break people down because you have the psychic gift. When you got Neptune in the third house, because it's in the house of Mercury, so just give you divine understanding right here. In your mind, stay in your mind, illusional mind. So if you got Neptune in the fourth house, this makes you more. It got the moon Neptune, so it makes you devilly psychic because it's too much water here, too much water. So in this house here, you all about the ancestors. You all about what the spirit is. You all about your family. So this is having a spiritual family. You know what I'm saying? You all about being creative in the home or where you feel comfortable at. So if it's in the home, you know what I mean? So your mother, you're saying this is your divine person who you can over-idolize and stuff like that. So also your family, you could over-idolize. A woman's in general, you can idolize, but also it could play on the downside where the spirit can be against, you know, your mother, the family, the home, and be the free spirit roaming all around. It depends on if you got squares or oppositions in this house or that's connected to Neptune. Now, in the fifth house, if you talk Neptune is in the fifth house, the sun, Neptune want to be sunny right here. Neptune gonna shine. So now you coming to the forefront. Now you'll put your creativity out there, but with authority as a leader, as somebody who's strong, because this is the house of fun, this is the house of leadership. And people will see you as a leader, people will see you as a fun-loving person. So you can actually be an actor, good actor. So I got Sun sextile to Neptune, so that's similar in a way. Those who got Sun conjunction to Neptune. So since Neptune is in the fifth house, the Sun house, that makes you with a sunny presence. You know what I'm saying? It makes you you could be super psychic too, and you could do this for fun. You know what I'm saying? Love the spiritual realm for fun. Now, if it's in the sixth house, if Neptune is in the sixth house, it's in the house of Mercury again, but this time it's Earth. You know what I'm saying? Usually, you know, Virgo is against Pisces or Neptunian energy. But right here, once Neptune come in balance with this house, in tune with this house, now Neptune could actually practicalize, have a balance rate. It can create a balance where you won't be so far in your mind. You be on Earth too, because it's the house of practicality. But also, on the downside, you could lose practicality, be so far in your head until you become ill, because it's the house of health. So, but if you in balance, you could be the healer. You have formulas of how to heal. You know what I mean? From spirit, and also not only spirit, you can write it down, which is earthly and practical way. You can write recipes and formulas. So right here, this give you a very good psychic gift and ability to tap into people's minds, to know people's minds, read people's minds, read their thoughts, but also clairsentient to understand, because you can feel the energy within your body. Because I got Neptune in the sixth house myself. You see, this is the house of Virgo. So now, if you got Neptune in the seventh house, it makes you all about love, because this Libra house from the heart. You be very empathic. It's all about love. You think love. That's all you think of. So the devil, you fantasize more. You be like clairvoyant. So you stay in your mind a lot. You know, mental telepathy, where you can pick up on thoughts, you can feel people's thoughts. So the seventh house also, it's just about love. It's about partnership. You feel good when you're in a partnership relationship. If you don't, you might feel bad. You might go through it if you feel like nobody love you or like you. And you might try to please everyone because Neptune's spiritual love is the key to your life. For the sixth house, spiritual health, spiritual healing. For you, is spiritual love. Like spiritual health in the sixth house is like helping to serve people. That's love in the sixth house. And so the sixth house want to do their own thing, but you in the seventh house, you want to be into partnership with Neptune in the seventh house. You want to be into partnership with others. You feel comfortable. This already a cardinal house, so people gonna feel like you're the leader anyway in the house because you're gonna take over anyway. When it comes to helping people, bringing people together, this will bring you love. This when you feel very spiritual. You feel very divine. Now when you got Neptune in the eighth house, now you got a soul in the house of Scorpio, which is searching, which is seeking, which is obsessive, the obsession house, which is the house of sex, the house of tapping into the unknown world. And so this gonna make you more tap into your own nature, tap into the unknown, and understand what spirit is, and all the lies that people speaking about spirituality and how it works. You're gonna expose it because this is the house of exposing. This house go hard. This house about transformation, but you will go through it. Have a very tough life with the spiritual realm because this house here is tough when it comes to spiritual realm. So if you got an oppositional square, your Neptune opposing Pluto or squares to it, or something like that, or if you're on the downside, you will go through it, the spiritual realm, till you will understand it because you will seek to understand. If you don't, you will go have crazy because this is like double trouble here because you got Neptune in the house of water, but it will do good in the water house because it understand Scorpio house, you see? So Neptune in this house, they could be like your great teachers of the world and healers of the world and bring that new healing to the world and expose all the fake, all the phony that deal with the spiritual realm. You see? They feel good when they can spread the truth to you. When they can expose something, spread the truth to you, they feel good. And so also they feel good when they do like tantrum sex, when they tell you that, when they show you that sex ain't bad as people think they is, that it can be spiritual. You see, they can turn it to very spiritual, but also on the downside, they can use sex as a weapon. It's said that it's spiritual, but they can use it as a weapon and to manipulate, because this has some manipulation too. So, but once they're in balance, they can actually teach you how sex is spiritual and connect the dots. Not only that, but these people here know if you lying. They can see through your. They got good premonition. They can see through your BS. They know things happen before it happened. You see, so you're very psychically in tune and inclined. So they cut cognates too. So Scorpio is very strong, but they don't ride nobody's coattail unless they're on the downside where they can let people take over them. Because you got to understand, the spirit is their power. So these people be into magic. They be into the magic arts. They be into magical formulas and stuff like that, trying to manipulate the energy. Now, we got Neptune in the house of Sagittarius. Neptune want to be free and explore and be adventurous. So these Neptunian spirits is very much clairvoyance and claircognizance, where they just know. They get downloads of information. Universal. As they get older, Neptune will grow on. They will expand because they're in the house of expansion. So their spirituality might not be that big when they're young, but as they get older, they be very divine, very spiritual. So spiritual wisdom is the key right here in this house. But also traveling, learning from other people is spiritual to them. Meeting all type of people who they never met, this is spiritual to them. So this is spiritual. But also helping people, being very giving, because this is the house of giving, helping, traveling, living that good life. But not only the good life, but also like the seventh house, Venus, Libra is the good life, and Taurus, the second house, is the good life. So is the ninth house. The ninth house can be the good life too. That's why Sagittarius energy, they like to party. So we got Neptune here. They can be your party animals on the downside and wreck themselves, be drunks and be on drugs and go through it and be very wild. Like they can be like animals and savages and stuff right here. Lose their spirit and don't care for spirituality. See, that's on the downside of the ninth house. Other than that, they all about improvement, all about growth, all about spiritual wisdom, growing into their higher self. So they can be your great teachers in the world and your doctors and yes, your doctors, your shamans and stuff like that, and your sages right here. They can teach you about the spirituality, and if they feel divine, they feel it all the time, no matter where they go. Happy spirit, but they can be over happy, over spiritual. Everything is spiritual, but they also can get on you about not being spiritual if they're religion. That's why in this house here, you can't be religion. If you do, you'll go through it, unless you got it under control. So they do good when they tap into the spirit, to spirituality. So without faith, their spirit will be nothing. So they need that faith. So with Neptune energy in general, you need that faith. You need Neptune. You need to stay trusting the spirit, because if you don't, you lose your way. Especially those who got it dominant. Because as many times I lost my way, I lost faith and left and confidence. Had to build it back up. You know what I mean? But I'm back. I never stay down too long, because I'm not that type who stay on the downside, who stay on the lower side. You know what I'm saying? It could be within hours, I'll be back. It just be them thoughts. It be like I had to get it back. So with Neptune here in the ninth house, you're about teaching people with your experience and spreading their truth and spreading their wealth of knowledge and information, spiritual knowledge at that. And also, when we go to the 10th house, Neptune in the 10th house, we're talking about careers. Your careers will deal with spiritual stuff, because this is the house of career, the 10th house. So you had the Capricorn energy. So you might want to be into business, your own business. You won't be into nobody else's business, but your own. You do good when you do your own business, because you might have like a lot of spiritual items and products in your business. You know what I'm saying? Items of healing. Also, you get into astrology, numerology, anything. So you can be very much a psychic in this house, because Saturn give you a ground to stand on. You know what I'm saying? To be solid and practical with it. So you can put your spirituality into practicality of how to heal people. You won't be so far in your mind and losing yourself. So it can give you that spiritual discipline. So with spiritual discipline here, you will win. You become a spiritual master, you know, the master of the spiritual realm. And teach people how to master themselves and give them that lesson. We got Neptune in the 10th house. Because the 10th house is all about organized. So you can be organized. Not only Neptune is a free spirit and just go with the flow, but right here, this give you the opportunity to organize yourself and be more neat. Because Neptune people could be very unclean too now. They can be very nasty like the way they live. So that's why Neptune need a ground to step on and stand on. Saturn give you that. So you be a very spiritually in tune, clean person right here. But also teach people that when you wipe out the counter, this is spiritual. Teach people that, you know what I'm saying, when they wipe down the TV, this is spiritual. Because when I wipe down something, I feel the spirit in it. You know what I'm saying? I look in some glass and wipe the glass down, and I see the soul. So I'm going to give you an example. So with Neptunian people, everything is spiritual. So your work would deal with anything that's spiritual. It could be Reiki, card reading. It could be astrology, numerology. It could be just reading people. All psychic gifts right here in this house. You put it to work and get paid. Because this is the house of getting paid, of discipline, and working till you master your skills. But you will go through the spiritual realm, because that's how it deals with. And what you will go through is trying to be practical. Trying to be practical. And not be all up in your mind. And not be like irresponsible and all that there. So you can get up and be more organized and more balanced. That's what you're working on in this house. In this house here. So you can perfect your gift. You know what I'm saying? So you can perfect your gift and your talents. So, but also you could teach a whole group of people about this, because you like to be in a group, and the group that you be in going to be spiritual divine, the people who got a good spirit who you can feel. Now, we got Neptune in the 11th house. This is the house of uniqueness. This is the house of Uranus, of Aquarius. This is the house of higher mind. So Neptune will stay in this higher mind. But the mind that Neptune stay in is come up with something that's different than others. So you get downloads information from the universe, from nowhere. Just kind of used simply. Because Uranus, the 11th house, is the number 11, which is mass number 11, the house of vibration that deal with healing, that deal with universal love. So right here, you got the ability to spread universal love. I love you. I love her. I love him. It's the same like Uranus connected to Neptune. same energy. Or Neptune in Aquarius, or Uranus in Pisces. So this type of energy, vice versa, is similar in a way. And so when we talking about Neptune in the 11th house, you want to be the great humanitarian. Anything that happened with humanity, you can feel. You probably can feel it before it happened. When somebody gets shot in the other part of the world or things happen, you probably can feel it so deeply in your soul that you knew something was going to happen, you know? But also you care so deeply for people that you can cry all the time in this house out of nowhere because Uranus make it happen. It don't even, you see, Uranus don't go on time. Uranus happen like, Uranus don't go on time. Uranus make things happen like off beat. So you can cry out the blue, out of nowhere. Nobody know why you crying, why you going through it. That's the Uranus energy. You know what I mean? So right here in this house here, because Uranus deal with change. So you always changing your mind, changing your thoughts. Due to what you feel, because you're always feeling things. You feel it out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You get sick out of nowhere. But also you can heal out of nowhere. Sometimes you get psychic visions out of nowhere. Psychic insights out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? We can just might see an image or see a picture. And also get downloads of information out of nowhere. So this is very much a good psychic placement on the universal level. So in this house here of Uranus, you are here to be unique to the world and embrace your uniqueness without trying to be someone else, because you don't do good being nobody else, because you're here to bring out your own spiritual style, not to follow somebody else like everybody else got teachers, spiritual teachers and stuff like that. But you're here to not be like everybody else, but to bring your own style out. Like everybody else might follow their spiritual teacher style, but you here to bring out your own little thing, your own way of teaching, your own way of reading and learning. Not because you don't do good doing it the way other people do it. That's why I deal with uniqueness, your own self. You know this, and that's why you know, like, when you follow the trends of everyone else, you do bad. But you're still here to cooperate others, because you could be very lonely type. You can isolate yourself deadly from people, because you know that you have an advance in the mind, and that you are before your time, and that you are a genius, intuitive genius, and that you come up with great ideas and inventions within your mind. So you might bring a new way, a spit philosophy, a new way of doing psychic gifts and ability. You might do things differently. So you see? Now, when you got Neptune in the 12th house, it's in its own house. It's straight Neptunian. You straight Neptunian spirit. It's the old soul. So you here to be spiritual and divine. That is it. Everything that Neptunian carry, you carrying it in that house. You here to operate in that house. Especially if you got a stellium in that house. Stellium, which means a lot of planets in that one house, the 12th house. The 12th house is Neptune house. So I don't have to go too further, because you already know that the 12th house is a spiritual house. So you're here to do spiritual work. You're here to, you will go through things that deal with spirituality. You will go through spiritual attacks, or searching for God, or trying to reach your highest self, your higher potential. Always staying divine. Spirituality is very important to you, and you try to seek it and find it somewhere. So I don't have to go too deep into it, because your gifts, you would naturally have all these psychic gifts and abilities if it's in the 12th house, no matter what it is. It could be claircognizance, it could be clairvoyance, it could be clairsentient, it could be clairaudience, or it could be all of it, because it's the house that deals with all of the gifts, that deals with the spiritual realm. And so it's up to you if you master it. So if you got a squares of opposition, you see, this is why you be going through it. Or if you're on the downside, because you can have a conjunction, but you could be on the downside and always see spirits. You feel like a spirit attacking you, and you could be scared of the spiritual realm if you got squares of opposition, scared to tap into the unknown. So this is 12th house. So we talk the Neptune energy. It's very great. So if you got to dominate Neptune like me, Neptune is one of my dominant planets. You're going to stay spiritual. Everything divine. That's why spiritual people love life. I love life. Come out, drink coffee. I ain't telling you to drink coffee, but that's what I drink, coffee. I feel spiritual. When I go outside, I feel spiritual. When I see people doing good, I feel spiritual. The spirituality, everything's spiritual to me. I see souls. I don't see the physical beauty. I see the outside beauty. What I'm saying is, I can admire somebody who's physically beautiful, but at the end of the day, It's the soul that really matters. So it could be a person who's not attracted physically, who can really attract me from their soul. They're very kind, they're very nice, or they're very divine, they're very spiritual, or they got that good energy. So it's the good energy that I'm attracted to. That's what spiritual people is attracted to. So we got Neptune here. Now you know. You know if the energy is bad. We're very psychic. We know what's going on. We see. We know. We hear. We feel. You see? Neptune got all the gifts. You just about to guarantee that you're psychic when you got a lot of Neptune in your chart. But it's up to you to activate it. And a lot of people don't know they're psychic. They experience it, but they don't know what it is. They don't experience why they hear voices. They think they sick and they ill and they go to get mental health treatment, but they're not. They're just a gift they have, you see? They might see images and pictures and they might go crazy. And these people in the world got you thinking that you crazy, but you pretty much psychic. You know what I'm saying? You might see your grandmama and think that this is an illusion, but it's real. The psychic gift is real. You see? Now you know why. So that's why astrology is very important. So you could be comfortable with spirits, so you won't be afraid of spirits. You don't supposed to be afraid of spirits. You're supposed to be in tune with them. See what I'm saying? You don't supposed to be afraid of spirit. Only the way they can harm you if you let them, really. So they're not just going to harm you without you letting them in. It's just like how humans is on the planet. You let somebody run over you, what they going to do? Run over you. So the same thing with the spiritual realm. So since you know this is the importance of Neptune, so you got a good side and you got a downside. All the upside stuff I'm speaking of that's positive, it's the opposite on the downside. So you can think of what's the opposite. Or you can span your mind and think of what's the downside is. Because the opposite. Anything that's the opposite for like love, you got hate, you see? Like you got nice, but you also on the downside, you got criticism, you see? So that's how it operates. So now, with this being said, a lot of your Pisces energies, I'm going to say Neptunian energies, are very creative. These are creative artists, good with the hands. You got healing hands, but also drawing, art, anything like music. They're in tune with music, all type of music, in life in general. Even take pleasures like sensual pleasures, sexual pleasures, because this deals with the energy centers. It also deals with the pineal gland. Pisces energy deals with the pineal gland and the feet. That's why they feel it in their mind and their feet. I feel energy all in my feet. And I understand why, because I got a lot of Neptune energy in me, you see? Why I start liking like beautiful feet of women, because the feet area in my feet is where I feel a lot of energy all the time, the feet. So I understand why not, because of Neptunian energy. You're going to feel it in your mind, because I can feel energy through my body. But also in my mind and my feet, I can feel energy there. You know what I'm saying? You can feel it. I can feel it in my brain, you see? Because it's the Neptune energy that flow through me. When you pay attention to your energy, like Neptunian people, they stay going within themselves because they feel good within themselves. When they try to keep that spiritual high. If they can't get a spiritual high, they don't get some type of high. That's why they get on beer, they get on alcohol, or they get on liquor, or they get on wine, or they get on crack, or they get on drugs, or they get on weed, or they get on anything, even pills, anything that make them feel high. Because they feel good when they're high. But what Neptunian people got to understand, that spiritual high is the best. I'm an example of that. You know what I'm saying? We don't need drugs or alcohol. And I defeated that. I thank the great spirit that I'm a part of, that I'm able to accomplish this. You see what I'm saying? And then I got a lot of earth in my chart too. I got a great balance in my chart. Even though water dominate, I still got stuff to help me stand up on mine. But also myself to help me stand up on mine also. But astrology like a guide. But with this being said, just the importance of Neptune. Everything divine, everything spiritual. Not only divine soul, but divine mind. You see? The Neptunian mind is divine. We see color, we see lights, we see frequencies, we see energies. Everything's vibrational, you see? Just like this world is a crystals. We understand that everything's spiritual. Everything came from spirit, vibration, energy, and light. You see? And that's what life is. Life is spirit. Life is energy. Light is energy. Lit is crunk, is energy. Vibrational, you see? We understand that. That's why Neptunian people could be your life of a party people too. A lot of Pisces and Neptunian people got a lot of Neptunian in their chart. They party, party, party. They party because they want to feel good. Pleasure is part of who they are. Also, the pleasure of how the energy flows. See, with Neptune, it's all about how the energy flowing through their body. They want to feel the energy in their vein flowing through their body and feel good. You see, they feel like the divine flowing through them. They just know. So we just know. So this being said, if you're a Neptunian, you understand. You know, this is how the energy rock. So everything is spiritual. Everything is divine. Any atmosphere you go to, you can feel the energy. I can feel the energy no matter where I'm at. I can feel if it's bad. I'm gonna leave if the energy bad. No matter what store I go to, if the energy bad, I'm gonna leave. You see, if the energy good, I'm gonna be in peace. That's good energy to Neptunians is spiritual peace. You see, we already have peace within ourselves. Those who master themselves, not all Neptunians, they got to master themselves to get there. So we love to be around good energy, harmony. But Neptunians don't do good in a toxic environment, even though they can adapt. But how they will adapt will be just like the toxic environment. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta understand, when a person ain't spiritual no more, or their spirit is lower, or the energy is blocked, you know how wild it is? You know how off the chain it is? You know how mental health it is, or mental ill it is? It's a shame. So a lot of your mental ill people and mental patients come from Neptunian energy. Because the spirit can drive people crazy when they don't understand who they are and understand their energy, you see? Or they have nothing to help them stand on it in astrology. They have no earth or nothing to help them stand on it, you know? So it drove me crazy at once, you know? I got myself together because this is the spiritual realm here. Always searching for God. Always searching for, you know what I'm saying, doing metaphysics, doing things that interest me, that's spiritual, that's divine, that feel sacred. So we got Neptune energy, people. This would definitely what it be when we talk Neptune. Neptune is very sacred. It'll help you elevate and be the healer of the world, be the magi. The magi would mean the healer. You could be the healer, the magic man. I'm the magi, Medjay. I know a lot of you don't understand that. If you're not an African coach, you might don't understand that. But anyway, you be the magical man. Be into magic, the arts. You be into energy itself, energy healer. You be into you be a therapist. You be into any social work where you can do healing, where you can help people heal themselves just by communicating. All type of stuff Neptunian people can get into that deals with healing, and also that deal with the spiritual realm, that deals with helping people, that deals with giving, doing charity work, you know what I'm saying? But Neptunian people like to do it on their own. These are free spirits. So you don't know how these people gonna move. So a lot of people look at Neptunian people, they're like, I don't know this person next move. Because you like irresponsible to people because they don't know how you gonna move. You might do a job, but then they might don't see you the next day like that there. So they got to be able to trust you. They got to see how you move. These Neptunian people, because they just floaters, just gone. They like mysterious people, very mysterious. Because I was mysterious to a lot of people. Yes. So, but they magical, see what I'm saying? So this is like, you have a lot of people see them as the perfect guru. And you have other people see them as a demon, you know. So that's how I go with Neptunian energy right here. You have people idolize them, but you also have people who speak a lot of lies against Neptunian people. Who speak a lot of slander. They will say a Neptune person did something that they didn't do. It's just that Neptune people a lot of times have that good energy. That's period. So they would say that this person did this, falsely accuse them, and they didn't do nothing. So that's what Neptunian people have against them. But if they protected by the divine that's in their chart, they're good. You see what I'm saying? Neptunian people good. Because if a person come against them, it'll backfire. So Neptunian people also give off energy to the environment. Like happy energy. When you happy, everybody happy. When you sad, everybody sad. So this is why it's important for Neptunian people to stay in joy, stay in happiness. So, because they bring that love, they bring that peace to the environment, they bring that giving, they bring that acceptance to the environment. You see? Neptunian really some good energy, wants to get in tune with themselves and don't be selfish, and they be more giving of spirit. So this definitely what it be. It's I can't lit. who bring you the Neptunian placements. You can't get no realer than this. It don't. So we got Sun conjunction to Neptune. Whoop. You just like a Pisces, sort of. Sort of like a Pisces. You got Neptune rising. You sort of like a Pisces. You got a lot of Neptune in your chart. You like a Pisces and more. If you got Pisces moon, you like a Pisces. You got Pisces rising, you like a Pisces. It's how it works, you know. So, with this being said, to my Neptunian spiritual gurus and people in African culture, it would be Net-Het, Neb-Het, who was Set wife. Net-Het, she's a Amorites over the spiritual realm, over the dead, you know, which is the spiritual realm, over the night. You see, she represents the night. She represents the spiritual realm. Who was a Set sister. She was the keeper, her sister's keeper, who helped Set against her own husband, which is Set. So, with this being said, now you get some overstanding right here about the Neptunian energy. So, with this being said, I'm out. Ashe.